Like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Analysis: Africa is less democratic and secure than a decade ago, study says. A new study of Africa's 54 countries makes for grim reading. It turns out much of the continent is less secure and less democratic than it was a decade ago, a sign of worrying political trends accelerating as the pandemic unfolds. A spate of military coups and the spread of armed conflict now threaten to halt or even reverse years of political progress across the region. The index, published biannually by the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, provides a quality ranking of overall governance across the region Africa, based on scores mapped to a range of criteria including development, economic opportunity and political inclusion. The report pointed to 23 successful or attempted coups since 2012 and 8 junta takeovers since 2019. Mali and Burkina Faso, two West African neighbors once responsible for known for their relative political stability, they have each seen 2 coups de-added recently. This coup phenomenon, common in the 80s, seems to have come back into fashion in certain parts of Africa. Mo Ibrahim, a Sudan-born British billionaire who has used his wealth to promote democracy and good governance in Africa, recounted reporters this week. A decade and a half ago, Ibrahim established an annual award on his behalf, to be presented to a democratically elected, former African leader who championed good governance and the rule of law, and set an example of leadership to the public in the region. The positive trends have not continued over the past decade, as a variety of governments hid behind a fig leaf of electoral democracy, even as they tightened a more autocratic grip. A 2021 report submitted to the European Parliament sought to find out why. 2 sets of reasons account for the fragility of democracies in sub-Saharan Africa. Among the first are low socioeconomic development, conflict and insecurity. The second include weak institutions, lack of independence of the judiciary, manipulation of electoral laws and constitutional norms, and severe restrictions on civil and political rights. Set boundaries or rig elections to remain in power, the Council on Foreign Relations noted a year after it began of the pandemic. But COVID-19 has given them greater leverage and provided another excuse to postpone elections in Somalia and Ethiopia, muzzle opposition figures in Uganda and Tanzania, and impose restrictions on media across the continent. Still, the desire for more democracy and stronger government are widespread in Africa, recent polls show. Public democratic commitment is underpinned by strong, and in some cases growing, support for fundamental democratic institutions, British think tank Chatham House noted last August. Support for multi-party competition and parliamentary scrutiny of leaders remain stable, while expectations that government should be accountable in court have risen significantly over the past decade.